Hey guys, today we're gonna go over how to sell anything. Now I'm gonna break down two of the most important steps to selling anything to anyone. And these steps you can apply to anything that you're doing. I personally I do door-to-door sales. You can apply this to just anything you want though. You can do phone sales, you can do online. It all has to do with the same things. And so the very first and most important thing, in my opinion, when it comes to selling is building rapport with your customer. So number one, I'll say right here, is build rapport with your customer. So what does that mean? Building rapport just means finding a way to have them trust you. You need to have things that you have in common. You need to come off as a professional. You need to present yourself in a way in which they would trust you with whatever it is you're trying to offer, whether it's a product or a service. Number one, honestly, you think about anything you've ever bought from anything, if you didn't have rapport, if you didn't trust whatever it is that you were buying, there was no way you were gonna buy it. And so this is the most important step. So with my job approach, when I go door to door, the first thing I try to do is find a way to make people listen to me by talking about things that I already do in their neighborhood so I can have some credibility. For instance, I like to name drop customers that I use or that are using my service. So I knock a door, be like, hey there, sorry to bother you. I'm just letting you know we're servicing your neighbors over here. Do you know Susan, Jackie, Luke? List off a few of the names that I'm servicing. And what is happening is I'm proving to them that I'm not just some Joe Schmo in the neighborhood. I'm their local guy who's taking care of their neighbors, and they should trust me on the door. Same thing applies with whatever sales when you're on the phone or whatever it is you're trying to sell. You need to make sure that they trust and have credibility with you. And so those are two things: build your credibility. And I usually do it by references. And I also do it by finding things in common. So commonalities, I mentioned something that I like. I have the same kind of car. I love those kind of cars. Or, oh, you guys are from here. I'm from here too. Whatever it is, finding ways to find a commonality with them. So that's another thing to help you build rapport with your customer. All right, number two, this is the next step it's super important, obviously. After you've built some rapport with your customer, at least they trust you. You're not some Joe Schmo. You need to actually qualify them. You need to create needs. You need to find out if there even is a need for whatever it is you're servicing. And that's a big thing because a lot of people will say, oh, every single person needs my service. Maybe, but honestly, maybe in that moment, that's not a real need for them. Maybe in their instance, there's a greater, bigger need that you haven't, that's not whatever it is you're presenting. And so they're not even thinking about that. So you need to qualify your customer in that moment. And if they're not qualified, you need to move on to your next potential. If you spend too much time with someone who is somewhat interested or maybe not even interested, and you just waste your time with them trying to convince them to listen, you've just lost. So that's the big difference between your rookie sales rep and your pro sales, is they qualify, and they do it quickly. You qualify quickly with your customers. You don't spend a lot of time chit-chatting, this and that. You build rapport, you let them know you're a trustworthy professional manager, you're the guy to talk to, and then you help qualify them by asking good questions. Are you the homeowner here? Are you this and that? You ask your specific questions relative to your industry to help you or to help them see if this is a service that they actually need or a product that they could have use for. Once you ask your questions that help validate and make sure they're legit, you're then able to move on to the next pieces of the sell, which is your pitch. You're gonna explain, what it is your service does or whatever it is your product does so that it's gonna help them. But before you go into that, before you start trying to sell them, if they always talk about like the pen, try to sell me this pen. Before you start talking about how cool your pen is, you need to ask them, well, shoot, do you even need a pen? And that's the way to do it. You just need to be upfront and honest with them because you need to understand not everyone is in need of a pen in this moment. And so you need to create a need and help them understand that there is, there obviously is a need for it. But if you can't qualify them quickly, move on. There's tons more people who are willing to listen to your service. Don't waste your time with someone who's not interested. So just to recap, build rapport, get credibility, make yourself trustworthy, and have some things in common with your customer or your potential client. And after you've had a little rapport, qualify quickly. Ask good questions, find out what their needs are, and then address those concerns and those needs. When you do those things, you're going to be able to sell anything to anyone. And that's today's tips.